Okay, so this assignment is four exercises in the textbook, okay? But they are all related. You have in each sheet, Excel sheet here, you have problem 112, problem 113, problem 114, and problem 115. Okay, these are problems from the 11th edition. But they are all related. These problems are about the same company. Okay, so the company is called Garrison Industries. It's an American multinational. They have the parent company, okay, in the United States. So they own a company in the United States, that's the parent company, but they also own subsidiaries in Brazil, Germany, and China. Okay, so the parent company earns, okay, has the earnings in dollars. The Brazilian subsidiary earns in reals, the German subsidiary in euros, and the Chinese subsidiary in yuan. Okay, so each subsidiary is earning their money in different currencies. Okay, for this exercise, we need to know which one is the home currency. So what do you think would be the home currency? Okay, so home currency is US dollar. Okay, so it's very simple, but I'm going to explain anyway. What you need to do is to, in each of these sheets, you need to complete the template. Okay? So, one more thing. Do you know what is FC here? FC. This is foreign currency. So what are the three foreign currencies? The real, euros, and the yuan. Okay, so if you read FC, this is foreign currency. Okay, so let's say the first calculation you need to do here is calculate the taxes. The taxes, let's say in the United States is 35% of the earnings before taxes. So what do you do? Multiply. The net profit, this is the profits after taxes. What do you do? How do you find the... You subtract the taxes. But then you're gonna have each of these in, this is gonna be dollar, this is going to be in real, this is going to be in euros, and this is going to be in yuan. Okay? Then you have the exchange rates that you're going to use. Here there is no exchange rate because this is already in dollar. The idea is that you need to find the profits in dollars, right? This is already in dollars, so you don't need an exchange rate. But this one is an exchange rate between the dollar and the real. Okay, so you have the profits in real after tax, and you have this exchange rate. And this exchange rate is FC for $1. So what would be this exchange rate? Real for dollar. Now, just to give you an example, let's say you have here, this is the profit, okay? This is in thousands, I forgot to mention that. All the numbers are in thousands. So this, 4,500, this means 4.5 million. This is 6.25 million. So let's say this is this number, just to say anything, okay? So this would be, we need to convert this to dollars. So let's say you have these reals, okay? The exchange rate is 3.5. Okay, so how do you convert? What do you need to do? What operation? You have 3,500 reals. This is the exchange rate, 3.5 reals for $1. What do you need to do? Divide. Yes. So the rule is simple rule. Okay, so you know, if you have the same symbol or currency symbol in the numerator, you divide. If you have different, you multiply. Okay? If it's the same symbol, you cannot multiply. If it's different symbol, you can multiply. Okay, so that's all. So for the next one, let's say here you have euro, and this is euro for $1. What do? Multiply or divide? Divide. And here you have this yuan, so this yuan for $1. Divide again. Then you want to find the consolidated profits in dollars. So what do? You have dollars here. This is the profits for the parent. Dollar profits for Brazil. Dollar profits for Germany. Dollar profits for China. How do you find the total consolidated profits in all the units? In dollars. Okay, so you have this is American dollars, American dollars, American dollars, American dollars. You just add them up, all of them. Okay, add them up here. Okay, now the problem says that there are 650,000 shares. Here I only write 650, right? Why? Because everything is in thousands. So this is 650 means 650,000. You want to find the earnings per share, the consolidated earnings per share. How do you find? If you have the earnings and the shares, you divide. Then here it says what percentage of the profits comes from United States, from Brazil, Germany, and China. How do we find the percentage of profits coming from each country? Okay, so you would need to, you take the profits in each country, divided by the profits total, okay, so, and you divide. Right. Percentage of the profits coming from outside the United States? Add them up. You add them up, the percentages, you get the percentage coming from outside the United States. Okay, so this is going to be called the baseline. Okay, so this problem, the first problem is the baseline. That means we are going to be changing things and comparing to the original situation. What happens, for example, if there is a depreciation in the Brazilian real? What's going to happen to the earnings per share of the corporation? What happens if the profits in Brazil fall? What's going to happen to the consolidated profits of the corporation? What happens if all the currencies appreciate or depreciate a percentage? Okay, what is the global taxes? What is the percentage of the global taxes that corporation is paying? Okay, so things like that. Okay, so remember, this is the baseline case. This means this is the original situation. So you do the calculations, this is the original situation. We are going to change some things, and then we're going to see what happens to the earnings per share.
Teacher, sorry, could you repeat the C? How do you get to that number? C.
Yeah, you take these three and you add them up.
Okay. Perfect, thank you.
Or you take 1 minus this. Okay, second problem. Okay, so remember, this is the baseline. So this is like the original situation. And then if we change one thing, then what happens to the profit? So the problem 113 is about a crisis in Brazil. There is a political and economic crisis in Brazil. So we have a depreciation. The exchange rate was 3.5, the exchange rate now is 4.5. So Brazilian real depreciating. And what we are trying to illustrate here is, okay, what's gonna happen now to the earnings per share of the company. So you do everything the same, but you're gonna write, so everything same, and you're gonna write here the new earnings per share. Okay, so you do everything the same. The only difference is this number is going to be different now. And here in the baseline earnings per share, what are you going to write here? What would be the baseline earnings per share? These are the earnings per share of problem 112. Okay, so it's this baseline earnings per share, problem 112. Here, this is the baseline. So every time you read baseline earnings per share in the other exercises, is the earnings per share in the original exercise. Okay, so you have to do everything the same. You calculate the new earnings per share with the new consolidated profits after this exchange rate. And then you need to calculate the percentage change in the earnings per share. So how can we calculate percentage change in the earnings per share? Remember, this is percentage change, earnings per share. Okay, so how do you calculate the percentage change? So it's going to be the new earnings per share, right? So yeah, I wrote new minus the baseline over the baseline. So here, this cell is already a percent, or let's say has a format of a percentage. So you don't have to multiply by 100 or anything. It's already, the cell is already, let's say, has that format of percentage. So if you just do this calculation, then it will show a percentage. Okay, and the second is the same. But now we have two changes, not one. Okay, these red numbers, these are the things that change. Okay, so it's very... Now, we have a change in the exchange rate, but also a reduction in the profits. Because there is a crisis in Brazil, so we have lower earnings and depreciation. Okay? So the idea is the same. You calculate the new earnings per share, you compare it to the baseline, and you calculate what is the percentage change. Okay, so just what do you expect would happen if the Brazilian subsidiary is earning less and the Brazilian real is weaker? What do you think is going to happen to the earnings per share of the consolidated company? It should be lower. All right. The next change is about appreciation and depreciation. Okay, so this is what we saw the first week that we're going to use now. So we have these exchange rates are foreign currency for $1, foreign currency for $1, foreign currency for $1. This is real for $1, euro for $1, yuan for $1. Here. we have positive appreciation, negative depreciation. So this is the appreciation case because these are positive. So the first thing you have to do is to calculate the new exchange rate. This is like the ending exchange rate. If you know the beginning exchange rate, let's say, and the percentage change. So in this problem, the first part is the dollar appreciates 20%. No, what is it? The foreign currencies appreciate 20% against the home currency, that is the dollar, all of them. And in the second part, all the foreign currencies depreciate 20% against the US dollar. Okay. So how do we find the new exchange rate? So what is the first thing we do?
To check if it's direct or indirect.
Yes, perfect. So do we have direct or indirect?
Indirect.
Indirect. Okay, so we have indirect. Why? Because it's foreign currency in each case for $1. So it's the foreign currency price of $1. In each case, indirect. Then the second thing you do, then you choose the formula that you need to use. For indirect quotations, we need the formula for the ending rate. So what is the formula for the ending rate? Is the beginning rate. Okay, multiply or divide? Divide. Okay, because it's in for indirect. Indirect is divided by 1 plus 20%. That's it. In each case. Right? And then you are going to use each of these exchange rates in this part. Okay, so you're gonna copy each and you're gonna use this exchange rate. Just one question, just to see something. If this is the beginning exchange rate and the Brazilian real strengthens, do you expect this number to be larger or smaller? This appreciation, the Brazilian real appreciates. Do you expect, this is the original exchange rate, do you expect this to be larger number or smaller number? Smaller. Okay. Okay, so then you're going to use this exchange rate. You are going to find the new earnings per share, and here in the baseline, what goes in the baseline is the from the problem 110. And then the percentage change in the earnings per share is with this. And then in the second part is the same. Okay? Second part, you need to first, okay, I have to move it down a little bit more. Here. Okay, so you need to find the new exchange rate. So it's the same, right? So we have indirect quotations. We need to find the ending rate. Is this formula? Because indirect quotation, then you use this formula. And then you're going to use these exchange rates here. You're going to calculate the earnings per share. You're going to compare it to the baseline, and you're going to find the change in the earnings per share. So now, what do you expect? If the foreign currencies appreciate, the first part, what's going to happen to the earnings per share? Higher or lower? Hmm? Okay, so the first thing, appreciation case. The real is stronger, the euros is stronger, the yuan is stronger. What's going to happen to the earnings per share of the American multinationals? Hmm? They are going to increase. And if the foreign subsidiaries have a currency that depreciates, decrease in the earnings per share. The last point, okay, so now just the last explanation, and then we finish for today. Okay, so now we are going to see how to calculate the global tax rate. It's very simple. So the first thing you do until this point, okay, is identical to 112. You go back to problem 112. All the data is the same as problem 112. So until this point, you get the same answer as in 112. Everything is the same. But then what we want to do now is calculate the taxes by country in dollars. Here we calculate the taxes in dollars, but these taxes are in real, these taxes are in euro, and these taxes are in yuan. We want to convert all the taxes to dollars and write them here. So in the first case, this is already dollar, but this is real. What do we have to do to convert to dollar here? Divide. Okay, so you're gonna take each and you're going to divide each of these. And then you have the taxes in dollars. If you want the total taxes in dollars, you, what do you do? Add them up. Okay, this is 2, 3. Okay, so now we have the taxes by each country. No, here. This is what you calculate. Okay, so you have the taxes in dollars by country. If you want the total global tax bill in dollars, what do? You add all the taxes in dollars by country. So you add this tax, this tax, this tax, this tax, and you get the total in dollars. Then we want to find the earnings before taxes by country. So you have to take the earnings before taxes in each country and convert to dollar. You divide by the exchange rate. And then you add them up all together. This total tax bill is the same number as this. And then you calculate the effective tax rate. What is the effective tax rate? This is the total tax bill divided by consolidated earnings before tax.
Consolidated. Oh, sorry.
Earnings before taxes. Okay, so this is going to give you the percentage of the taxes that the company is paying globally, because we know that, for example, the company is paying 35% in the United States. It's paying 40% in Germany. But if we want to find in average in the world how much is paid, we take the total taxes divided by the total earnings before taxes, and that gives you the percentage of taxes that is paid overall in the world. And the last one is what happens if Germany reduces taxes to 28%, from 20 to 28, and the earnings increase to 5 million euros, from 4.5 to 5 billion. So what's going to happen to the earnings per share? Are they going to increase or decrease if a country reduces taxes? Increase. What's going to happen to the tax rate? Decrease. Okay. So one thing you can do to quickly calculate is you copy this on the side, right? When you go to this point, you copy on the side and you change this. This is going to be 28% and this is going to be 5,000. You change these two and you can get immediately the two answers below, right? So just copy and change. Remember, everything is in thousands. So here it says 5 million, but you have to write 5,000 because 5,000 here means 5 million because everything is in thousand. All right, so do you have questions about this? Okay, so the deadline is next week. So you have until next Tuesday